Drone strikes have apparently impacted the Kremlin. Russia is blaming Ukraine. Zelensky says Ukraine is not culpable. This could just be a psyop from Russia to be pushing total advantage so they could further justify their actions within the borders of Ukraine. This could be the factor of a rogue state actor or a rogue agent, or it could be militant factors within the Russian sect, or it could be people within the Russian populace that are completely against the actions of Russia, or people that are for the war in Russia that are ginning this up so that they can then further justify Russia's actions against Ukraine because they believe what Russia's doing is justified. Let's go ahead and jump into this Twitter thread as well as these multiple articles. Let's see what we've got. Breaking. Ukraine targets Putin with drone strike on the Kremlin. Russia has accused Ukraine of attempting a drone attack on the Kremlin with the aim of killing President Vladimir Putin. Russian officials said Putin was not injured and that Moscow shot down 2 drones. The Kremlin said it reserves the right to retaliate according to Russia's TASS media outlet. This is a breaking news story. More details to follow below. Let's go ahead and get this footage. Okay, so this must have been following the strike itself. So, we see how this is. This is just the remnant factors. If I assume someone heard the explosion, they went and go to take the video. Let's go ahead. We're going to go down into the thread. It says, updates. Russian state news has reported that Putin was not present at the Kremlin during the attempted drone strike. Furthermore, the 2 unmanned aerial vehicles were intercepted by air defense, and no casualties or material damage have been reported. So no one's hurt. No one's been attacked. It says CNN just posted the story right now. Rightly so. Their tone seems skeptical. If Russia is correct, and this is an attempt on Putin's life, we could see things get much uglier. And this is what I was talking about, the nature of escalation that we could see coming from this, because it could just further justify Russia's actions in the eyes of the Russian people and in the eyes of the Kremlin. It says, 2 Ukrainian drones were flown toward the Kremlin overnight, Russia claims. The 2 drones were flown toward the Kremlin's last night, according to the Kremlin press service. President Vladimir Putin was not in the Kremlin at the time, spokesperson Dmitry Peskov has said. No one was injured as a result of the fall and scattering fragments, state media RIA Novishtia has reported. Social media video appears to show some smoke in the vicinity of the Kremlin, but it is unclear that the source of the smoke is. The Kremlin press service called the drone attack an attempt on the president's life and a terrorist attack. Russia reserves the right to take retaliation measures where and when it sees fit, if added. So I saw a video, like a small one, of the explosion, and it doesn't look like this is going to be anything that's even going to really fully damage the housing of the building that would be able to even get through to the quarters where Putin stays. So I don't even see how this would be an actual attempt on his life unless you're flying the thing right up to him. And let's go ahead and get that look right now. Here we see it comes in on a frame. It's literally just like a quadcopter, and it blows up right by the flag. And that's it. And it just disappears and vanishes. You're telling me this was an attempt on the president of Russia's life? This. And also, when you talk about a drone strike, especially when you're talking to American citizens, you're really invoking something huge. What you're invoking is this. Okay, So, this is what you're invoking. When you talk about a drone strike, when you're mentioning Americans. It's like, okay, it's some dude sitting in front of a monitor with an Xbox controller about to completely blow out some hole in the middle of the desert in Afghanistan. Anyways, what it says is, updates. As expected, the U.S. is unaware of the Kremlin drone and is treating the reports with skepticism. U.S. official, we are looking into the report about drone strike on the Kremlin, but aren't able to confirm it or validate its authenticity. Blinken, we take everything coming out of the Kremlin with a great deal of skepticism and will wait for the facts to emerge before commenting on the Russian novel. And honestly, I fully agree with this. You have to be completely skeptical about this, and I'm not one to ever trust Anthony Blinken, that scummy piece of shit. But nonetheless, that's completely aside the point with this, because you have to look at the idea of Russia trying to foment dissidents for them or against them. And I think this is something that's incredibly important to take heed of, because what you'll notice is the media jumps on this immediately as per se. Look, false flag, as you can see, as I was just saying in the beginning. But NPR has jumped in and says, Russia alleges Ukraine tried to attack the Kremlin in Putin assassination attempt. Russian authorities accused Ukraine of trying to carry out drone strikes on the Kremlin overnight to assassinate President Vladimir Putin and warned of the possible retaliation. You saw the explosion. How would that be anything that's going to get through the siding of the building in one of their massive industrial hearts of Russia, in the Kremlin itself, to kill Vladimir Putin. 1, he's not even there. 2, it was up by the flagpole. I doubt he's staying up at the top by the very tip of the flagpole. But it says, the Kremlin's press service said on Wednesday Russian air defense shot down 2 drones attempting to strike Putin's residence inside the Kremlin walls. We regard these actions as a planned terrorist attack and attempt to life on the president, the Kremlin said. Putin was not in the building at the time of the alleged attack, the Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told Russian state news agency, as we just went over. The Kremlin said no one was harmed and there was no material damage. So it says, Moscow has accused Russia of carrying out previous attacks and sabotage in other parts of Ukraine, which Ukraine denies. Ukrainian officials have rejected the latest account. So, as if you were Ukraine, even if you did this, you would deny it. I mean, even when the Polish rocket impacted, or the Ukrainian rocket impacted Poland, I should say, and I believe it killed 2 people on a farm in the middle of, like, the Polish, I believe it was East Poland. And what happened was, immediately Zelensky jumps out and he's like, it was Russia. Russia just bombed Poland. They just bombed a NATO country. NATO has to come help us immediately. And what did it turn out? It turned out it was a Ukrainian missile. So you really just can't trust anything, especially when you're caught up in the fog of war, because it will completely obfuscate your vision. And you saw this with the stuff of, like, the people on Snake Island, or the ghost of Kiev was shooting down all these Russian fighter jets, and then all the great memes with, like, Sam Hyde being the ghost of Kiev came out, and then Adam Kinzinger posting the picture of Sam Hyde as the ghost of Kiev, which was just beautiful. Chef's kiss. What a moron. So we're going ahead and jump in. It says, Ukraine denies Kremlin's claim of drone assassination attempt on Putin. This is from the Washington Post. We've got from the AP, Ukraine denies Russian claims on Kiev sent drones to hit the Kremlin. We've got Russia claims Ukraine tried to assassinate Putin in drone attack on the Kremlin. And then we've got from the USA Today, Russia says drone attack on the Kremlin was an attempt to kill Putin. Kiev denies involvement. Live updates. And there haven't really been too many live updates on this feed I've kept up. Mario's been posting the most recent stuff. And honestly, as you can see just from, we saw from this explosion, and we'll play it again just so we can see it, comes in out of nowhere, little quadcopter. They're talking about how this was flown across the country or whatever. I believe that's what I read. Maybe I misread it. But the idea that this quadcopter with a 20-minute battery that they use to videotape footage, that, because I've had multiple drones of this caliber, and you're telling me that this is the degree of what they were going to use to take out the president of Russia? I call nonsense. But nonetheless, like I said, we're within the fog of war, and I can't tell, and neither can you, so let's keep weaving through this narrative and see what we can find. Alright, be safe, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, a thumbs down if you didn't, tell someone you love them, and yeah, have a great day.